Yeah, it's like a really we could really talk quite long about this topic. I don't think there is like sort of universal question, universal answer, but I would always start lean. So I would say you always have to find out how to sell first, and then start building a team. Because if you start building a team and the role of the team is to find out how to sell, it may be really a very expensive thing to do.
Yep.
So
What
you should,
happened in our case was
yeah.
that I did this. I'm a sales guy and I liked sales, and
Hmm.
I did the sales at first myself. Then I hired the team. We do great in lead generation. We get a lot of meetings, and then I assigned I had a playbook already how to sell to insurance companies our solution, but the sales manager did not execute this at all. Then we changed our target group to rental companies, and I gave them the assignment to start selling. That was my mistake of not doing the sales first myself, and now I have to do it. Like I have to dive in and take over all accountability to make it work, to have the sales bible and processes and the value prop and everything, because a founder has to drive that. So I
Right.
think I learned it the hard way.
Sorry, I lost the last sentence. Can you repeat, Ramona? I lost you.
Yeah, I said I learned it the hard way.
Yeah, we learn hard way all the time. But how to say? It's very much about principles. Maybe just before I start answering this, I suggest reading books from, if you know, Nicholas Agile, Anti-Fragility, or Black Swan, or Skin in the Game. This guy, he writes like more about it helps you you learn a different kind of thinking. Okay, so it gives you like a principles, and when you understand principles, it's like the umbrella. Then you can solve little things, because most of the books today, they are solving like how to build sales process and how to sell more and stuff. But what he covers are really principles that are applicable for business, because he's a former business guy, a stockbroker, and he's considered one of the most influential authors of last century. So just if you haven't read anything from him, I really suggest that, because it really helps in business. But that's,
What
sorry,
was the
just
author? Can you please repeat?
I will put it into remarks. It's Nassim
Oh,
Taleb, but I will put it into remarks then. So,
got it.
to
Thanks.
your yeah, to your question, Rauno, like generally, we could say that you should first learn how to sell at least few deals, so that you can when you onboard first sales guy, you can tell him something, right? Because and I have a slide about that here. When you onboard any sales guy and he sees that you don't know what you're doing, the very simplest thing is what happens is that you lose respect, and that covers all other troubles that will happen. Okay, so you really need to know what is going on, even if you're not a sales guy. But sometimes in some kind of businesses, it can happen that to find a way how to sell, you simply need more time, and you need uh, data from a huge, let's say, package of performance, so meetings and calls, before you learn that. I believe there are quite some businesses where this is the case, and you have to be able to communicate this to investors and actually to yourself, right? So
Yep.
that's again why I really suggest everyone to do some kind of these mathematical models that I just showed you, because that will tell you, again, still it's estimation, it's estimation, it's clear, but it will tell you something. It can tell you really a lot. So when you have these
Definitely.
numbers and you can convey this message to investor and say, it's really tough. And I worked with VR engineers. I had the burnout then because I really worked too hard. But there was really long sales cycle, you know, to get into Salesforce, US Salesforce, you need 2 years. So it's tough, but also I think you should be able to find low-hanging fruits, because like every business, if it should be healthy, there have to be customers from very beginning, some kind of customers. So even these customers would be paying very little, like that's what Rauno you said, they want to pay much less that you want them to charge. So even if that's the case, I would still try to find a way to get customers, even if the price is not adequate for you, just to learn, you know. So,
Exactly.
and I think you all guys would agree that for first customers, you would be very generous with pricing, because you simply want them to start and give you feedback, right?
I agree. But about low-hanging fruits, in your experience, how many use cases can a company focus on effectively? Because our car inspection software can be used by many automotive companies, but we have decided to run experiments in different use cases, but to select the most important one where 80% of the time goes, that are the rental companies. But I see that there are many low-hanging fruits, let's say car dealerships, where I think my hypothesis is that I can get them as a paying customer quicker, but it's just the time and focus and resources that we'll have to put into testing. And is it better to focus on only one, or what do you think?
I understand. Sorry to say that, but I think this is sort of philosophical question, partially, like if there was first egg or chicken. Sort of. I think you should. The main thing is to build a mechanism, a sales mechanism, which means CRM data structure, where, let's say, your assumption and reality they are going to meet, and it's more narrow. So it's like, you know, the longer you work, the more clear is the picture. And if you do that, and the problem is that most of the companies don't do that. That's why they struggle. If you build something like that, even if you're wrong at the beginning with your assumption, you will not be wrong after a certain period of time. Okay? Because, you know, let's say if you have a board or if you're raising money, one investor will tell you, you know, you should focus on one market first, and when you conquer that market, then you can go to another market. That's absolutely right. But also, if you don't know which is the right market, focusing on a wrong market could cost you 1 year without any results. So then another approach would be like opportunistic. So let's try everything and see what happens. Then the question is, do I have enough sales power to do that? So you see, there are these sort of more factors, and you have to find a way how to. It sounds stupid. Find a way how to find a way. So I think really, again, create a structure of data that will and a model that will give you this answer as soon as possible. So maybe if you feel like, if you see that there is this niche with, let's say, your car rentals, it's really very probable it will work, and we should focus on finding a way how to get there. But maybe there are a few other segments. So let's spend 60-70% on car rentals, but also very strictly another 30% or on other opportunities where our main focus is not to sell but get information. So let's say it will be more shallow contacts. We will disqualify much faster. What we will really want to have answers for these 3 questions. Would you pay? Does it have a value for you? And I don't know, how quick could you buy? And then after a few months, after 3 months, you will see how successful you were with car rentals that you suppose that are your niche, but also you will have data for others, and you may think, okay, maybe I will focus more on this one because it looks really, really promising. And also I learned a lot on car rentals, so I will do many things better.
Exactly. That's the approach we have right now. But the percentages are different. 80% goes to rental, 20% goes to dealerships, and I have divided my week, like 4 days to car rentals, 1 day for this other segment. Very strict about it.
Okay, guys. So since we have like 1 hour behind, time goes really fast. I have still on my mind one thing that Tom mentioned, which is the sales benchmark. I'm sorry, but I didn't understand what you mean by this sales benchmark for the guys. What exactly you mean by that?
Sorry, just Peter raised his hand, so maybe
Sorry,
he
okay.
has he has a question.
I have one question. I hear a lot about when you were speaking about low-hanging fruits. It reminds me. I hear a lot about different approach to sales or how it fits together. That many companies that we speak of, that are in similar business that we are, that took approach that, or they said that a very good approach is to first you have to sell to the market leader at some certain either geographics or market segment, and all the other will follow. But in that sense, many times the market leader might be the very hard case, not the low-hanging fruit. You mentioned the US sales force. If I sell to US sales force, all the other companies probably would love to get hands on the same because they want to stay competitive, or it's a proof for them that, okay, this is something. If Salesforce is using it, this is a good product, this is a good company. So how do you is there any good rule of thumb how much time to invest, for example, for market leader, and when it's not a good case to do so? Because there is always a trade-off. Because many times you can sell to smaller guys, but it won't open the market, let's say. So yeah. Do you have any I know it's also a philosophical question, but if you have any opinion on that, and maybe to your second question, I have the same question about the benchmarks. I don't know, for example, how should be the conversion rate for in general. So for me, it would be good to have some range. Okay, this is the conversion rate that you should consider good. For example, I have this data for performance marketing. I know that if I perform somehow, my team is doing well. I know it's not like it's again case by case, but still it helps me at least a bit to understand if I'm going in the right direction. That at least that's how I understand the benchmark question, and I have the same question.
Got it. Okay. So thanks, Peter. Thanks for this. And I don't know. I will not. I did not like quit from your question, but I just want to stay in this topic, and then I want to go back to your another question, because it was about perception of the value, because that is a huge part, and I want to cover at least partially because of the time. Okay, so Peter, with the leader, I would say this: you should in a pipeline, you should definitely have a tag of a customer that is a market leader, and have few market leaders there, and work continuously on them, but expect to win them maybe 1 year or in 2 years, which is like this US Air Force example or whatever it is. And strictly insist on working with them, but also, since you have to show investors and yourself and the business, and you have to feed your company with money, you should focus on simply those customers who can convert into customers or give you money right now. Okay, so I think you have to take both things, and most probably I think really experienced entrepreneurs would say that you have to cover those smaller customers that will give you money first, and then only then you can think about this huge vision. So that's what I think, that's the right approach. It's like more, let's start up more like entrepreneur approach. Okay, so yeah, unless you have really a vision like Elon Musk, and you really, or Jeff Bezos, and you really know what you're doing. Yeah, because but this is really yeah. So did I answer this part of the question?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Another aspect of this, but just very shortly, is that it really depends on through which door you go to this market leader. So again, common mistake that I saw is that with a product that is like really great, but no huge company, let's consider automotive like Audi, BMW, Volkswagen. So when you go with this product to the guys that are using a well-established product, competitor product, they may like it, they may not like it, but they will definitely not buy it. So you have to first go to something like innovation center. Those geeks who have budgets for testing new stuff, new toys, let's call it like this. And when you persuade them, then you can go to the next level. And maybe after 2 years, you can get to this sales department that will, sign a big contract, and you will become this supplier, and you will get this, as you call it, Peter, market leader reference that will then open door for other market leaders. But even here, you have to start with selling them something in the first place, and it's a long journey. And usually it's going through the innovation center department or something like that. Peter, you seem to be stuck.
Here I have a video and said that my connection is poor, but I could hear you. So
okay, perfect.
Thanks.
Second part is with conversion rate. You're mentioning if we can suggest conversion rate. I don't think we can suggest them. We can only either estimate somehow, maybe ask competitors or your friends, or research some data if there are some data about average conversion rates within this industry. Put them into your model that I just showed you, and then when you have your own data, just change them in this model. So you have this assumption first, and then you adjust. One important thing here, I would be always more pessimistic first. So I would always how to say, plan really much bigger performance, because in the worst case, when the conversion rates are better, you will have excellent results. That's the worst thing that can happen, but definitely not the other way. So always be more pessimistic with planning this, so that you have bigger performance. Okay, is that fine? So now when I come back to Tom, you said this sales benchmark, so that was about these conversion rates. Okay, yep. Perfect. So now when I come back to this presentation, so that you can see what was the other topic. The topic, Rauno's topic, was this. So issue to convert the customers from demo to deal. Main issue is in the value proposition and pricing. You said that you are preparing a ROI model or calculator, and they want it cheap. You cannot sell under your cost, which is clear. So I have a few points about that here. Yeah. So let me go through this.
Now I only see a part of your screen, like some text is missing the beginning. I'm not sure if others have the same issue, or
I can see full screen.
Oh, you can see it full screen.
So maybe when you click on my window, like double click, maybe it will be better. Want it?
Now you are.
Yeah, now I lost your screen entirely.
Okay, so let me just do it a bit different so that Rauno can see it.
Good. Now
Yeah.
I can see it, yes.
So I don't know if you read my email.
I did.
Yeah. So let me just repeat shortly for other guys. So one problem that may happen at the very beginning of a sales process is the initial perception. So let's say you have a app, mobile app or something. So they will customers will immediately compare it with something they know, and if that something is cheap, then you are in trouble. Okay, so we have to be very careful at the very beginning of a buyer's journey or sales process, however we call it, with how you present your solution, because to change this perception that they made at the beginning is very hard. So even then, when Rauno creates a great ROI calculator and a use case, and in the final meeting he presents that, if there's one or two guys who have this false perception from very beginning, it may not happen. You may lose it. So that's the first thing. Still, the first thing, just second aspect of this is this fact may be hidden in your data. So your data may show that you have very good conversion rate at the beginning of your sales process because they have this perception, they like the product, and then you lose them at the end. So your data show you have very bad conversion rate at the end, but the cause happened already at the beginning. It just, the effect of this is only shown in the final stage, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and I think this may be even the most important case. And in the email, I asked if you are going to have a ROI calculator on your website, or just an internal one.
Website.
On website. So that's perfect. That's perfect. That's really good step. I believe this may really help. Another okay, communication of a product. So I have a short video about this last week. Most of the products are communicated the way that you first say, and marketing guys many times they give you this advice. First, you have to say who you are. That's correct, pretty much. But even more important is to say what is the value for the customer. And if you start with this, they may identify themselves much faster. So there is this example from books where Steve Jobs said, like, what was it, iPod, 1 million songs in your pocket, okay, something like that. So if you may say, no, what will be with car rentals, no false claims, from customers. I absolutely understand what's the problem, and to me this may have really huge value, but if I imagine myself as a car rental owner, I really struggle to imagine that. I only see that as don't take me wrong, as an app that does it a bit more comfortable for my personal, which is like, I'm not sure if I want. But what about, is the price? Can you tell the price? Is it not secret? Like, what was it?
No, it's not a secret, and I think it's also related to the perception, because currently there is no fee per inspection. The inspection is done by an employee. So it seems to the customer that it's free. We only have the employee and we have to pay them and so on. But we charge between 3 to 4 euros per inspection. And that's why our ideal customer is a rental company whose average rental price is higher than 50 euros. Because if it's 10 euros, then they have a hard time justifying the cost.
Got it. Okay, but in the so if you compare the price with, or can you say what is the value for let's say one customer, one dealership, sorry, one car rental? What
you
is
mean the average deal price?
No. What is the value for them? So let's say if I have your app, how much costs and time can I save?
At the moment we cannot. That's why we are putting the calculator together. But the main value proposition comes from charging damages, the money from the customer, from the right customer at the right time, because they're missing some damages, which the human inspector cannot find. And they also have issues logging down this information in their system. And that's why these issues happen, and also very stupid arguments with the customers.
Got it. So maybe, Rauno, let me tell you one short example. I did similar business. I was selling pallet pooling. I don't know, do you know what's pallet pooling, guys? It's generally like leasing pallets. So if you imagine that you are Coca-Cola and you are sending Coca-Cola to Tesco, okay? So you put these Coca-Colas on pallets, and Euro pallets, which you purchased. And then Tesco gives you these pallets back, but they are destroyed, okay? So you're upset. But Tesco is your customer, so you don't want to tell them, hey, Tesco, you are idiots, you ruined my pallets. So you have to solve it somehow, and there are costs, And so you think, okay, I may repair them, but still I can use them again, whatever. So my one pallet can do, I don't know, it can be used 10 times. So the cost of one turn is price of a pallet divided by the number of turns. So let's say 400 divided by 10, which is 40 Czech crowns. And we had a system where we rent pallets. So we give you our pallets that you can use. And when you send it to Tesco, we collect them on our own. That's our problem, not yours. And for this rental, you will pay, I don't know, it was 60 Czech crowns. So on the first look, it's much more expensive. Okay, so why would you do that? And we did this detailed analysis when we started asking questions like, okay, so when this happens, when Tesco gives you wrong pallets, what do you do? And they say, no, our dispatchers, they call them and they try to communicate what's the problem. So how much time they spend on it? 1 hour every day. Okay, so you wait 1 hour. And then how much of them you have to repair? 20%. So what is the cost of repair? Blah, blah, blah. You have to send your trucks there. So what is the price of the trucks? And then you apply it for 1 pallet. You know where I'm heading. So you have like a page of these little things. And now, even if you don't have these data yet, Rauno, you can have this assumption. You can make the structure of these costs. You can really, let's say, put their numbers that are more in your favor. So it looks like no-brainer. Why not? Because you may say one of our customers did have these numbers, and you can show this to the customer, and then he will say, no, we don't have to do this, we don't have to do this, but this is interesting. This is just a half. This we didn't. This is maybe even more. And with this exercise, you may come to a conclusion together with the customer that it really actually there is a value. Or even I experienced this with one huge bakery in Czech Republic. When we had this meeting, I didn't succeed in the first meeting, but where I succeeded is that he realized that his cost for 1 turn of the pallet was not 20 Czech crowns, but 40. Our price was 60. So I was halfway to get the business. So I just needed to find these little holes, and I got it. Eventually I got it. So that's the process. Okay.
I think the checklist is a good idea. And we're visiting a customer actually next week, a big rental company. We're going to analyze their current processes, and that's a perfect way to like make this checklist.
Exactly. And I would put there like every little stupid thing that may happen. I would put it there. And I would not be like shy. I would not be shy if they tell you that's stupid. Okay, that's stupid. Sorry, but just you have to find out somehow. So and another thing is that you are expert. You are the expert of this topic, not the customer. So you have to really guide him and really he's not the one to teach you, but he's the one to confirm or deny. Okay. Or let's say verify your assumptions. So that's another thing you can do. Product cycle reality, that's what we discussed. That's let's say through which door you go. Another thing I have here is power mapping. So I don't know, guys, if this is if you use power mapping in your sales approach. Do you know what it is? Generally, it's talking to more people, if I put it really simple, because mostly sales guys, they talk to first contact that starts to respond positively, okay? But unfortunately, many times this guy doesn't have any competence to decide, or he doesn't even know the guys who can decide. So you may spend really a lot of time with such a guy, not knowing what is happening, and then after 6 months you find out that it just won't get through. So I really suggest to ask at the very beginning, ask who else needs to be concerned. Like, who is the user? Can I talk to your users? Maybe those guys who do these inspections with the app. Can I meet with them? Can I show it to them how it works? Because if the user is a son-in-law of an owner and he says this application sucks, then you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You know what I mean? So that's just about that. We could really spend another hours about this. And last point I have here, Rauno, is clarity of a demo or a case study. So again, I think it talks, it speaks for itself, you know. So very often I see that the demo shows all the features. I really liked this that you can test your app on your website. Like I was clicking in, it really, I understood it sort of, but also what I was missing, just for you guys, you could click really, you could like do a model inspection in it. What I was missing is like, what next? Like, so I did it, now what? So then I would expect like there is a case study, or now you saved, when every guy does this, what you just experienced, which experience is really strong, your company saved this and this, for example.
Very good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to mark it down immediately. We're developing the new homepage.
Yeah. But these are really little things where, again, this perception happens. And remember, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the brilliant point. But since we're running out of time, one issue that I have, I'm not sure if it's relevant to others. I'm right now using sales intelligence tools to record the meetings. In this call, we also have a bot transcribing the call. But why I'm doing it is I want to understand, did I really ask all the qualification questions? And what did the customer say? And our friction has been that the product team maybe doesn't trust the sales team because we don't have results. Then they ask, okay, did you do this and ask this and so forth? Have you ever experienced this? How have you solved it? I'm hoping that this sales intelligence and transcription, where I can show them what we ask or what we discuss in those calls, that we're doing it right.
Yeah, it's. I think this. Thanks. This is. We could like. I mean, Jan. I don't have to finish like really very strict, so we can do at least a few more minutes. I have next meeting. I have at I think 4. Yeah, 4. So if we do a few more minutes, it's absolutely okay. I don't know how about it. So you don't have to be afraid that now. Only if Jan will do like stop. Yeah, so to your question, I think this happens even in big corporations, like everywhere. This is the topic. And I don't think I have better answer than it's more about the company culture and mutual trust than I don't think sales should be in a position of having to prove that they are doing what they are supposed to do. If this happens, that's already wrong something with the culture, not with because you know this is like vice versa. Then again, when the product is implemented and it doesn't work, then the sales guys they would say, you idiots, you know, I put my name on it and now you fuck it up. So now they think that I'm stupid because I'm the face of the product. So I think, but you have a really good point, Rauno, that and this is what we implemented in a few companies, that we have a regular, like, how to call it, like once a month, let's say sales department invited product guys for a sort of like a party or meeting, and there was like a grilling, but they also showed what they're doing, what they're working on. And then the next month, product team did the same for sales guys. So they said, like, now we were working on this, I don't know, special lenses or this, you know, feature of this app, so that the other team understood how difficult it is. And I think these kind of meetings, they put the teams more together, and also they start to respect each other much more, because usually it comes to a conclusion that one team doesn't understand at all what the other, or no, they understand, but they also find out that they would not be able to do it. It's super hard. Okay, so they respect the other team much more, because they say, okay, I would not be able to you know, talk with customers like that and listen to their denial, you know, and all this stuff.
Yep.
So.
That's a very good point. I feel that we have made improvements in the culture part, and teams are more talking to each other, but we had a situation where there is one feature request coming in all the time, and the product team just couldn't believe or understand why this feature request is coming in and why it is needed.
Yeah, okay, so salespeople. Can you hear me?
We had a lag for a short time,
Yeah,
but now we can hear you.
Now, is it okay? Okay. I would say that salespeople tend to be creative. They want to be creative, and they often comment like, if ever we had this feature, we would be able to sell. Okay, so that's again, you just have to be able to explain that, okay, this is what we have, and there are customers for this. Find these customers for this what we have. Later we can discuss something else. And so if the sales guys are not able to understand, or if you're not able to explain, then you have to find another sales guys. Because no, but really here it's about really sales guys stamina. Like if they are able to sell what you have, because it's more difficult. It's also more difficult to sell something that is more expensive. Okay, so to sell a bread for $1 is easier than to sell it for $100, right? So again, and we are coming back to this value. So if the sales guy is able to build a value around the product that you have right now, then it's the right sales guy. But if not, if he wants these features, then it just excuses. That's the excuses approach.
Yes.
He finds excuses somewhere else than in his own approach. And from my experience, so just last sentence about this, usually these sales guys, there is something wrong with their performance. Okay.
I agree. My situation is that I feel that the sales director, he would like to do a sale where the sales cycle is quicker and the product is more simpler and clear. But we are in a stage where the product is very complex. We have to still build the product, and the sales cycle is really long. So I think he's burned out actually, because of the nature of our sales is not what he is used to, and also that he prefers the sales that I just described.
Yeah, I mean, I have like many buffer slides here, and one of the slides says like the mistake with hiring is like wrong hire and slow firing. So usually when it doesn't work, the sooner you get rid of a salesperson, the better, because then he can poison the rest of the team. And I really have experience with that. Like companies are, and especially startups, because there are smaller groups of people. What if I fire him? He's popular in my team. People like him. Usually these are the guys that everybody likes them. And then when you fire them, you are the bad guy. It's more like culture topic themselves, but still it's important to do it fast. Also to have a plan how to replace his workload, and also where I really did some mistakes also with how we communicate firing this person, because when you do it wrong, it can really cause a big trouble in respecting you and stuff. So it's really complex. It's really super complex stuff. But essential thing is, if there is someone who just doesn't perform or has this approach, and if you tried to help him, if you tried enough to help him,
yeah,
and it still doesn't work.
Tried.
Yeah. So then it's clear. So sorry to say that.
I know we're on the same page, and I think I know what I have to do. But there's again the question. I'm a founder, and I want to do sales. It's just that how much can I do, and what areas should I do for how long? Because I have all the other responsibilities as CEO as well. So that's the big question personally for me.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's this is sometimes we help companies when they need, for example, a sales manager, but they cannot find one, and they need to set up all these things. So we are like quick knowledge that you can get very quick, and we do the base setup and all these things. And when the company finally finds a manager, then he already can start on a base, very solid base. But also it's I think it's, again, I mentioned at the beginning, to start lean. So first you find someone who can do part of your, so that you have more free time, so who can help you with your operations. Then find second guy. One of them should be junior, one senior, so that there's still someone who can sort of supervise the other one, like build it like this. And within time, you will have free hands and working sales, but it will take time, absolutely. But when you do sales on your own and you don't have sales guys, first thing I would do is to, let's say, detect where's the biggest workload and find someone who I can delegate it. So it could be lead generation, it could be the initial communication, and you still keep the final talks where there's negotiation. You can still do that.
The way I'm doing it, lead generation, is on another person, actually 2 of them. I do the meetings, it is transcribed, and also the meeting memo is prepared for me. I review it and I send it to the customer, and it's also automatically sent to the CRM. So I would say my best part is discovery and qualification of the customer. That's the whole foundation. If I do that right, then
yeah, it's tough, but you'll do it. I'm not afraid about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good thing is that I like it, but sorry for dominating the conversation.
No.
I'll shut up now.
I think guys, they seem to be satisfied. So probably these are Peter, Tom. Anything else you would like to cover, or?
Yeah, maybe one last question from my end would be, the sales process consists of many manual kind of activities, and I would like to hear your 2 cents on what tools could be used and should be used for automating these kind of activities. This is first one. And second one is one particular, you mentioned the name Lead Speaker, that I'm considering using, if you think it's worth using these kinds of lead generation services or not.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start with the easier thing. Lead Speaker, we are like partners, and they are doing really good. What you have to do is really define the expectation, mutual expectation clearly. When you do that right, also from your side, and when you focus on creating the right mail scripts, because they will help you doing them, but you have to cooperate there. That's really important. Then it works really good. It works really good. But also,
you get me a discount since you're partners?
I'm not sure, but we can talk about that. I may ask. Yeah, I may ask. But yeah, but again, you have to put it into a context. So you cannot expect that would be, I would say, even not fair towards them, that they would save you. Like this is like one part of one sales channel, but still you have to use other sales channels, because think about this. You know, your company will exist years, hopefully even longer. So you have to build a sales machine that performs on monthly basis. So ideally, when these guys, for example, when it works well, you will use them for a certain period of time, either for, let's say, 3 months intensively, or maybe in long term. That's you have to agree on that together. But also you will probably have other channels that you work with, like your own direct channels, maybe also partners, and it all has to, you know, fit together. So that's about this. And the first was sales process. You want to discuss tools? What tools to use?
Yeah, basically because, for example, my salesperson recommends for the automation of email outreach to use hunter.io or AI, I don't know. So what tools you have the best experience with, what would you recommend, and so on?
Okay. Yeah, so it always starts with CRM, because based on what CRM you have, then there is, let's say, a set of tools that is compatible with that. I would split. So there's CRM is like in the middle, and then before CRM you have, let's say, lead generation tools. So Hunter.io, as far as I know, they evaluate emails, or they find the right emails. Okay, so that's just part of it. Then you need software that will automate, let's say, addressing these leads. So one tool for searching leads, another, or maybe could be even the same tool for addressing those leads. So I can give you, let's say, one very simple example that we recommend when, let's say, you are just one sales guy, you are starting, you don't want to spend too much money on the tools. So I would definitely recommend using Sales Navigator as a database, which is like a LinkedIn extension, sort of, or it's part of LinkedIn. So by using Sales Navigator, you have access to the whole LinkedIn. You can filter all the leads, all the companies. And if your target market is there, which sometimes also can be the case that it's not. For example, one of my customers, they target local bakeries. So bakeries, they are not on LinkedIn. Or I don't know, waste management, they are not there. But if they are there, if let's say these are maybe these car rentals in US, I think they are there quite a lot. So you can use that. You can use, if you have Pipedrive, you can use a link match. This link match works as a bridge between Sales Navigator and Pipedrive. So when you find a lead in Pipedrive, this link match will, by 2 clicks, transfer this lead into Pipedrive. So you don't have to do it manually. That can save you quite some time. And also you have really data without a mistake. Then you can use the old tool. It still works, is a DAX soup, which does automated messaging and adding to connection, but that's kind of robot, so you have to be careful with that. And there's still like some people have like an issue with that because LinkedIn doesn't allow a third-party software to use it, but they, on the other hand, they allow it because more or less everybody is using them. So it's like a question. Or there's another interesting tool. It's called Lemlist. It's a French tool, and this Lemlist actually you can run automated email campaigns and also LinkedIn messaging campaigns at the same time with the same contacts, and you can plan a lot of cadences there, like really a lot. You can also personalize your message even with using a picture there. So, for example, when you have a nice, maybe a little funny picture, and maybe there is a name of this guy or woman in a picture, it's quite personalization. Okay, so these are the tools that work with Pipedrive. If you use other CRMs like HubSpot, Salesforce, Oracle, then you can use SalesLoft, which pretty much covers all the things that I just mentioned, but it's more expensive. HubSpot itself, it's also more expensive, but you have everything in one place. Okay, so these are just 2 examples, and there are definitely more combinations of the tools, which is one part. Another part is utilizing the CRM to its fullest, because, for example, we prefer Pipedrive most of the times because they are very easy to use. I think they are the fastest CRM to learn how to use it. So most of our customers, they're able to use it in 2-3 days. They use it smoothly. They also have many integrations. They have chatbot. You can create offers automatically. You can also like program automated workflow. So for example, if you finish a meeting, it will automatically send thank you email. Like, thank you for the meeting, it was really nice. Which most of the guys, they forget. They plan like, okay, I will send tomorrow, I will send the summary. And when they don't send it, after 1 week, they say, okay, it's too late, I will not do it. And that's already very wrong. So these automated workflows in Pipedrive can help you be more efficient. Okay, so it's not only, I would say it's more about doing things that saving time, because mostly sales guys, they don't do that because they think it's too late. They procrastinate, simply, they procrastinate. So if this helps them to do that, then it increases the efficiency. And the time saving is just a bonus. Yeah. And maybe third part of it is analytics. A good CRM should have quite good analytics as a part of it. But after a certain period of time, you may need more detailed analytics. So then there are some analytical tools that you can also use. But then it depends again on what kind of business you're doing and stuff like that. Yeah. So this, I think this is basic about tools. Then there are tools like maybe you mentioned, guys, recording the calls. So it's good when you have a remote sales team. It's good to listen to their calls, because if you don't listen to them, you may be. I had a customer who we were analyzing data first. From data, everything seemed perfect. So we were wondering what's going on. They do follow-ups, they send emails. When we listened to the sales calls, we realized that the sales calls are really, really very unprofessional. They did very basic mistakes. So they could have perfect sales process. They could do the follow-ups. They could have the right database, right product, good presentation. But when you do basic mistakes during the calls, you lose it. So again, it's important for you to detect these little mistakes, because this saying, the chain is as strong as the weakest part of it. So if you have everything perfect, but the cold calls are really wrong, then you have to focus on the calls, because only then it will work. So it can really come down to ordering maybe a training company or someone who knows how to analyze it and how to teach these guys how to call the right way. And it can then change the whole game of your company. This little thing, That's also why there are so many books about cold calls in the US. I have like 50 of them here. They're all about the same. But again, calling in the US is very different than in, I would say, Europe. Because I think guys from Europe, they don't buy these American, I would say, techniques of persuasion. Like, nothing wrong with that. It may work, but you have to be more creative here, I think, because we are more suspicious in Europe. Yeah. Did I answer, Tom?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.